students, today we will solve sample paper issued by CBSE recently. Now, you are very well aware with the pattern of question paper which was discussed with you in previous video session. Now, we are with our very first question. List any two observations when ferrous sulfate is heated in a dry test tube. See, here ferrous sulfate is given. Ferrous sulfate crystals are not given. But we have to start this question from ferrous sulfate crystals only. Because when ferrous sulfate crystals are strongly heated, then they produce ferrous sulfate along with the evaporation of 7 water of crystallization. So keep this point in your mind that here ferrous sulfate is given, but you have to start this question from ferrous sulfate crystal. Okay, so now what happens when ferrous sulfate means ferrous sulfate crystals are heated in a dry test tube? Ferrous sulfate crystals. What is the formula of ferrous sulfate crystal? FeSO4.7H2O. This is the formula of ferrous sulfate crystal. So you can see in the formula, with one molecule of ferrous sulfate, how many water molecules or water of crystallization are associated? 7, which give it a green color and crystalline shape. Okay, when these crystals are strongly heated, then these 7 water of crystallization get evaporated, leaving behind ferrous sulfate, which has dirty white color. Because due to these 7 water of crystallization, it has green color and crystalline shape. When it gets evaporated, its green color disappears and dirty white color appears. And crystalline shape also disappears and powder is formed. So, when ferrous sulfate crystals means FeSO4.7H2O are strongly heated, then these 7 water of crystallization get evaporated, leaving behind ferrous sulfate, which is dirty white powder. Okay, then we continue heating to this ferrous sulfate formed here. Now, on continue further heating, this ferrous sulfate, which is a dirty white powder, is decomposed to give ferric oxide Fe2O3 or iron third oxide, which is reddish brown in color. Along with that, sulfur dioxide and sulfur trioxide. These gases are also formed, which produce burning sulfur smell. So, question is, list any two observations when ferrous sulfate is heated in a dry test tube. Now, we know that ferrous sulfate crystals FeSO4.7H2O. Here, 7 water of crystallization are associated with one molecule of ferrous sulfate. Due to these 7 water of crystallization, it has green color and crystalline shape. When these ferrous sulfate crystals are strongly heated, then 7 water of crystallization get evaporated, leaving behind ferrous sulfate. Due to this, green and crystalline shape disappear and dirty white powder is formed. Okay. Now, this FeSO4 ferrous sulfate, which is a dirty white powder, On further continue heating, decompose to form ferric oxide, reddish brown in color, sulfur dioxide and sulfur trioxide gases, which gave burning sulfur smell. Okay, so what are the two observations which you can record here? First, green color changes to reddish brown color. Finally, this green color changes to reddish brown color finally. Second, burning sulfur smell is produced. So these are the two observations. Now answer is very small, but behind the answer, what is the thought process? What is the chemical reaction that you have to think upon it? It is more important. Okay, so before solving any question, whether it is of 1 mark, 3 mark or 5 mark, the main important thing is the thinking process, thought process. Means how are you taking that question? How are you reading or going through that question? Okay, that is very important. So first read the question, go through the question and then think upon it. Means what is the chemical reaction or reason behind it. Okay, so here when I read, okay, that ferrous sulfate is heated in a dry test tube. Okay, ferrous sulfate means ferrous sulfate crystals, FeSO4.7H2O. When it is strongly heated, what are formed? Okay, then a further heating goes on, which decomposes this reactant to these products. Okay, which I have already written on the board. So now what are the two main observations? Green color changes to reddish brown color and burning sulfur smell is produced. So these are the two observations. There is an internal choice in question number 1. That is, identify the products formed when 1 milliliter of dilute hydrochloric acid is added to 1 gram of sodium metal. It is very simple question. What happens? What are the products formed when hydrochloric acid reacts with sodium metal? So hydrochloric acid when reacts with sodium metal, then being more reactive than hydrogen, sodium displaces hydrogen from hydrochloric acid and forms sodium chloride, plus this hydrogen is evolved in the form of gas. So what are the products formed here? Sodium chloride and hydrogen gas. Okay, so these are the two products formed when hydrochloric acid reacts with sodium metal, and this is the chemical reaction. Here we need not to write the chemical reaction because chemical reaction is not asked, products are asked. So we have to write the name of the products along with the chemical formula. Question number 2. Write the chemical name and chemical formula of salt used to remove permanent hardness of water. It is sodium carbonate decahydrate. Formula Na2CO3.10H2O. So what is asked? Chemical name and chemical formula of salt used to remove permanent hardness of water. So chemical name of that salt is sodium carbonate decahydrate and chemical formula Na2CO3.10H2O. That is why it is known as sodium carbonate decahydrate for 10 water of crystallization. Okay, and common name is not asked, but for the information, its common name is washing soda. Now third question. Which of the following is not observed in a homologous series? Give reason for your choice. See, homologous series is a series of same class of organic compounds in which two consecutive members differ each other by CH2 group or 14U mass. Okay, so in a homologous series, all the compounds or organic compounds are of the same type, belonging to the same functional group. So, in a homologous series, all the compounds or organic compounds are of the same type, are of the same class, belonging to same functional group. So, they have same functional group. So, this is observed in homologous series. And two consecutive members differ each other by CH2 group and 14U molecular mass. That is also observed. And now molecular mass is increasing by 14U from compound to next compound. So there is gradation in physical properties. As the molecular mass increases, there is gradation in the physical properties like melting point, solubility. It also keep on increasing with the increasing molecular mass. So gradation in physical properties also observed. What is not observed? That is change in chemical properties, because all the compounds or organic compounds of a homologous series are belonging to same functional group, are belonging to same class. So if they have same functional group, then they have same chemical properties. So they will not be different in chemical properties. So this is not observed in homologous series. So what is not observed in homologous series? Change in chemical properties is not observed in homologous series, because all the organic compounds of a homologous series are belonging to the same functional group or class. So if they have same functional group, then they have same chemical properties. They will not be different in chemical properties. So answer is change in chemical properties. This is not observed in a homologous series, because all the organic compounds of a homologous series have same functional group, so they have same chemical properties. Now question number 4. Why does the sun appear white at noon? Because at noon time sun is overhead, so sun rays travel comparatively shorter distance. So most of the light are coming together without much scattering. So they are least scattered during noon time. So we can summarize all these points together, and answer will be in noon time sun rays travel relatively shorter distances. During these shorter distances, most of the light are least scattered and give us white appearance of the sun. Now question number 5. Both a spherical mirror and a thin spherical lens have a focal length minus 15 centimeter. What type of mirror and lens are these? See, spherical mirror has a focal length minus 15 centimeter. We know that a concave mirror has focal length in negative. So it is a concave mirror. And a thin spherical lens has also minus 15 centimeter. And we also know that a concave lens has focal length in negative. So it is a concave lens. So answer is here spherical mirror is concave mirror and that thin spherical lens is concave lens, as both have negative focal length. Number 6. The image formed by a concave mirror is observed to be real, inverted and larger than object. Where is the object placed? So, in front of a concave mirror, there is an object whose image is formed that is larger than the object, real and inverted. So where is that object placed? It is obvious that object is placed between principal focus and center of curvature. When object is placed between principal focus and center of curvature, then real, inverted and larger image is formed by concave mirror. Now there is an internal choice in this question. Name the part of a lens through which a ray of light passes without suffering any deviation. It is optical center. As you have studied in rule of refraction 3, then when a light ray or incident ray passes through optical center of the lens, then it does not refract, bend or deviate. So optical center is the point or the part of the lens through which if incident ray or light ray passes, then it does not deviate, bend or refract. Okay. Now question number 10. See. Question number 7, 8, 9 are from the chapters which we have not covered so far. That is from electricity and magnetic effects of electric current. Okay, so we will solve these questions afterwards. Now question number 10. Veins are thin-walled and have walls. Justify. So we have to justify that why are veins thin-walled and having valves. See, because blood flows in veins under very low pressure or no pressure. So, thin walls of the veins can tolerate this very low pressure. Okay, due to this very low pressure or no pressure, blood can flow backward. So, to prevent its backward flow, valves are there. Okay, so this is the answer of this question. Veins are thin-walled and have valves. So veins are thin-walled because blood flows in veins under very low pressure or no pressure. And to prevent its backward flow, valves are there. Okay, so this is all for today. Thank you. Have a nice day.